Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Yes, it is a good morning. It was so nice, the weather this morning.
Yeah, it's beautiful outside.
Beautiful
Yeah,
outside.
no
Beautiful
doubt.
outside in the Northeast. He is Mark
Happy
Malusis.
Thursday, everybody.
Yeah, I am Keith Irizarry. It's Moose and Keith. We're ready to rock. The NBA Finals are ready to rock, too. Hockey
Game one
feels like
tonight.
it's been gone forever, right? We don't even get into the game for another 2 days. But basketball, we finally get a game one tonight. And the Nuggets have been resting for 9 days. That doesn't usually bode well for teams that have that much rest.
No, I mean, it usually doesn't. I don't know if I necessarily, we're going to go on the idea that Heat momentum. I mean, they're 9-point dogs going into the game tonight. Is Miami against the Denver Nuggets, and I don't know if I necessarily look at it and say, oh, the break in between 10 days off in between after they swept the Los Angeles Lakers and got into the whole LeBron James retirement conversation and Mike Malone, continuing to echo the sentiments of, people talking about LeBron and not everybody giving the Denver Nuggets credit, then getting the diatribes about why people talk about the Lakers and not the Denver Nuggets, because the Lakers more people care about and the Denver Nuggets not a lot of people care about, and you're playing to the ratings and the mass part of the audience, and everything that we've had here since the Western Conference Finals have come to an end has almost been comical. But still, when you look at it, the brass tacks of it, I mean, Denver's a really talented basketball team, and they were the number one seed in the Western Conference. And I know that's the betting angle people are going to look at, saying, well, the time off is going to maybe hinder what the Denver Nuggets could potentially do in game one, not in the entire series, but there's going to be a little bit of rust. It really depends on how sharp the practices were, how crisp they were, how much work did they do over the course of the last 8, 9, 10 days in order to get themselves physically and mentally prepared to go out there and play a game tonight. Could you see some shooting issues early on? For sure, but here's the problem. It's not like you're taking on some offensive juggernaut with the Miami Heat. They are not that. I mean, they go through long stretches where they don't knock down outside shots. They're not averaging 125 points per game. So even though Denver might struggle a little bit in the opening quarter to find their, legs and to get themselves back into a rhythm, does Miami have enough early on in a game tonight, coming off a tough 7-game series, up in Beantown Memorial Day Monday night, flying out to Denver that night, getting ready for game one tonight, to be able to take advantage and maybe gap the Denver Nuggets early on? I'm not so sure they do.
So I think it's going to be a close game at times. And I think what you said there about Denver maybe having a little rust with their shot, it could happen. I think that rest is good, but over resting is sometimes not. Think about when you take a nap, right? There's a reason why people talk about 20-minute naps or an hour nap, whatever it is, that non-deep REM sleep that you get into. That's the good nap, right?
Yeah, once you get into the REM sleep, you're screwed.
Yeah, it's real sleep then. And I don't know if Denver was sleeping for 9 or 10 days. And I'm not trying, honestly, it's not like I'm trying to tell you that Denver's going to win, going to lose tonight. I still think Denver probably wins tonight. But I think Miami, one of the things I was looking at is plus 5.5 in the first half. Denver could still be winning by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. That's fine. I think Miami's going to keep the game close in the first half. I think their defensive presence is going to be good enough. And I'm wondering, and I think it was Geltz. I think it was Geltz yesterday was talking about what the game plan is going to be against these Denver Nuggets. And the more and more I think about it, it was Geltz, by the way. And the more and more I think about it is I think Geltz is right. Jokic can score 35, 40 points. It's Murray can't score 35. It's KCP can't go off for 20. It's Gordon can't get 15. It's and on and on and on. Not you can't let the extra pieces guard them the way they're supposed to be guarded. Don't let them go off. And if Jokic gets 35 points per game for this entire series, Miami can stay involved. So yes, I won't say that I'm picking Miami to win tonight, although I think tonight's a live betting game. I think tonight's a great live betting game because if Miami gets up early, I don't think the line's going to move very much. I think the book is still going to expect that Denver comes back quickly. But I definitely think you could be live betting tonight's game a lot.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I don't really I'm not one that delves a ton into live betting. Maybe a little bit more in the NFL. I did on a couple of occasions these NBA playoffs. I did it when the Nuggets trailed against the Lakers at the half when LeBron in game 4, when LeBron scored the 31 points in the first half and they were down double digits. I said,
Yeah.
LeBron's not going to be able to keep that up, and nobody else is scoring for the Los Angeles Lakers. And Denver really didn't play particularly well, and they're not down by like 25 in this game. So I thought Denver had a chance to be able to rally in the second half and win the game, and they did. And LeBron looked, very kind of exhausted, especially in that third quarter. Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily look at. I think it depends on how it plays. Like if you tell me Miami's up by 5 at the half, yeah, then I could see what the number is on the Denver Nuggets. So it's a fair point. I don't
Yeah.
really actively attack that market when looking at the NBA. I kind of look at, and I also at times like to see a wait and see approach. I would probably lean more Denver tonight than I would taking Miami, even with the time off, and maybe I'll prove to be foolish. I get that there are other teams that have struggled with this kind of a rest coming out for game 1, but we also learn from previous teams and learn from experiences in the past. I'm not saying it was the Denver Nuggets experience, but people talk around the league about what you need to do in order to get yourself prepared. I also think Denver's just a better basketball team. You mentioned about Jokic. And listen, I thought Boston was a better basketball team, but they were just stupid. I don't think Denver's stupid. I don't. I don't think.
Really good point.
Yeah, I don't think they're just going to be chucking up threes and hoping that they fall. I think Denver understands that everything goes through Nikola Jokic. How exactly does Miami slow him down? If you double team him, he's going to find the open guy. If you play a man on man, he's going to average like 45 points per game in this series. So what exactly do you do if you're the Miami Heat? And you met Jake Geltzeiler talked a little bit about it yesterday, saying that they're going to give Jokic his points, but take everything else away. Well, I think it's also going to be difficult to do. Like, where's the pace of the play? I think Denver's got to play up tempo. I think Denver's got to play fast. And I think they got to use their athleticism and their guys that can finish on the open core like Gordon Murray and a little bit like Michael Porter and be able to run Miami off the court, similar to the way that they did to the Los Angeles Lakers. Don't let the Miami Heat get their defense set. Those are some of the keys I look at going into game 1 tonight. I'm happy we got it. It's going to be, a chasm. It's going to be a time before we get into, NFL training camps here, Keith.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we got game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight, and I'm glad the series does start. And you're right about the National Hockey League. I mean, they are waiting forever before the Stanley Cup Finals get going.
Yeah, it is certainly taking forever. Listen, I'm rooting in that one selfishly. Can we get at least 6 games? Because then I'm on Stanley Cup coverage for the day after Game 6. So I think you'll
get 6 games in that.
We get 6 games. You get Keith Irizarry NHL Network Stanley Cup coverage. I'm
beautiful, love it.
Yeah, I'm from Secaucus, not on site, but I'm on 2 of the travel days. So let's get this series going far. Anyway, back to the NBA. Also, if you look at Denver, especially in that series against the Lakers, they often struggled in the first half. Now, it wasn't like struggle, they look bad. It was just it was almost like they slow play games. And I don't know, maybe that was a case of they know LeBron is older and they almost like we have kids. You know how when your child, like think about any of your 3 boys when they were really, really young and they were like wired, but you wanted them to go to bed. Do you remember kind of letting them run around a little bit more and almost tiring themselves out? Do you remember those moments?
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a little bit of a while for me, but I remember those. I remember with Austin and Alex where you're like, oh my God, I just kind of wish they would go to sleep. Let's just, let's run. Yay, let's go. Let's throw the ball, like do things like that. And then at some point they get overly tired and you go, hey, you want to sit on the couch and just watch insert name of show? And they go, sure. And the next thing you know, it's this. They're leaning on your shoulder, sleeping. You pick them up, you put them in the crib or in the bed, whatever it may be. And I wonder if the Denver Nuggets were doing that with the LA Lakers, right? Where they were like, all right, LeBron James, you're so great. Run around. Go ahead. Score. Dive for the ball. Get a rebound. 25 points later. LeBron, you want to come take a nap in the second half? And that's essentially what he did, right? And that's what they did with Anthony Davis, I think, and also. So I don't know if they can pull that off against Miami. So I'm almost talking myself out of their game plan that they had for the Lakers against the Heat?
Yeah, I don't. So wait, you're
I'm
talking?
wondering if Denver's style of play against the Lakers, was that a blueprint for that series or a blueprint for the playoffs is my question.
Oh, that's yeah. I think
that's what I'm not sure about right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could work against Miami. I do. I'm not telling you that Miami is as old as the Los Angeles Lakers. I just think Denver's offense, if we're going to lean into it, Denver's a significantly better offensive team. Miami's probably a little bit more of a balanced team. Defense is very, very good. Offense is not as proficient. So if I'm Denver, I got to lean into getting myself open shots, open looks, maximize possessions. I want to try and play up tempo. I'm not going to slow the game down. I don't want to make this a bog. I don't want to make it to where it's possession by possession, limiting possessions. I think the less times Nikola Jokic and Denver touches the ball or gets shots up offensively hurts their chances and helps the chances of the Miami Heat. That's the way I look at it. So I'm not telling you it necessarily has to be a track meet up and down the court the entire game, because I think Denver could exhaust themselves. But I think there are stretches where if you're Denver, you're going to want to try and push the tempo. Because I think it plays to them. Gordon's a great guy that can fill on the break. Jamal Murray could shoot off the pass. You look at Michael Porter has found a distinct role for that team as well. And he's standing at 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", whatever Michael Porter is. And then you got Jokic, who orchestrates it all. So I think Miami's going to try and be physical, try and, minimize the offensive opportunities for the Nuggets. But that's what I would look at it. I think it's an interesting series from this dynamic where you look at it's like the team of destiny against the player of destiny.
Yeah.
Miami, the team of destiny, where Jimmy Butler doesn't want to touch the Eastern Conference trophy. Miami, the team of destiny, is being the second 8 seed to get into the NBA Finals, joining the 99 Knicks, going through Milwaukee, the Knicks, and the Boston Celtics in order to get here. Just this mental fortitude, potentially getting Tyler Hero back at some point in the series, maybe as early as Game 3. The brilliant coaching of Eric Spoelstra and the whole idea of Heat culture. And then you look at Denver, and I know it's been talked about and played out, but as we've said, as everyone said, the team that nobody really wanted to respect, and they're sitting here, and really the player that begrudgingly people were like, yeah, he's the MVP of the league. Yeah, he's the MVP of the league. And a guy that has been Mr. Triple-Double this postseason, has showed off his brilliance, has clearly showed himself to be the best player in the world, and his opportunity now to further cement his legacy in the NBA as far as winning a title and going through the players that he's gone and going through the teams that they have gone through in order to get here, whether it be, Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns, LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, and then the last one is going to be Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat.
I think the storylines that you laid out, there are storylines galore, right? I think that when just on paper, Denver's going to win this series in 5 games, right? Like if you look at it just on paper, that would be what you do. But that is almost a disparaging statement to put out there, being what Miami has done. The fact that Miami is an 8 seed, got past the Milwaukee Bucks, and I don't even mean just got past, they beat the Bucks. That was a series everyone, except for maybe Heat fans, were picking the Bucks.
Yeah.
Most people were probably picking the Knicks to beat the Heat, or at least it was probably 50-50. And the Heat probably should have won that in 5. They won it in 6. And then what the Heat did going out to a 3-0 lead against the Boston Celtics and, holding on and then dominating in game number 7. You can't take away what the Miami Heat have done. You can't take away what Jimmy Butler has meant as a leader, and Eric Spoelstra and the rest of that organization. Speaking of Spoelstra, let's hear from him, because playing in Denver is no easy task for a road team.
Hear about for teams coming in here, how much of an effect can that have? And if it's more than 0, what are keys to getting through that?
We're not even getting into any of that stuff. Our guys are in great shape. They're ready to compete. If Denver wants to tip this thing off at the top of Everest, we'll do that. This thing is going to be decided between the 4 lines. They also got to come back to Miami if we want to make it about that. We'll turn off the air conditioning. They got to play in 90-degree humidity.
We'll play it at Mount Everest.
There you go. Played in Mount Everest.
I would tell you, one of my previous jobs, by the way,
Yeah.
I was working at this place called Sports Idio. This was, I don't know how many years ago. And Garrett Madison, Madison Mountaineering, he was climbing Mount Everest. And I did one-on-one interviews with him via, it wasn't Zoom at the time. I don't even know what the technology was that we were connecting with.
Okay.
And I was waking up at like weird hours to talk to him at each like summit spot while he was doing it.
Well, that's
It was
cool.
great. It was really cool. Yeah, he didn't, and luckily, like we did it twice. I did it one year, and then we did it again the next year. It wasn't Everest the next year; it was a different mountain that he did the next year. And him and his Sherpas and his crew did not lose a single person.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
On his two climbs that we did. It was great. Yeah. I'm on his email list. I still get Garrett Madison Mountaineering email list and updates about when he's climbing. Sorry, I know I deviated from the plan there. And
No.
it just jogged my memory.
Mount Everest. I mean, I would think that would be, if you're able to accomplish that in your life, that is a fantastic goal. Like I could never do it physically, but for those that are able to do it, it's remarkable.
Did you watch that movie Everest? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I couldn't.
Yeah,
even,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine. Like
Good stuff.
I'd like to believe that I'm, you know me. I'm one of those guys that you tell me like, oh, let's try this. I'm probably going to try to do it, and I'm going to try to be the best at it. Like if you said, Keith, I need you to play this sport in 6 months, I'll train for it and I'll do whatever I can.
But it's mad crazy expensive.
Yeah, it is very like rich people or who do it. Yes.
You got to be extremely wealthy to do it.
Yep. And you have to be able to devote time to it too. Cause there's a lot of training on how to handle the breathing.
Yeah. It's not.
Or lack thereof breathing.
And there's a lot of people who have died on that mountain.
Yeah. And then they just leave you there.
And then they just leave you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the bridge building.
Yeah.
You ever hear about the bridge building stories?
Yeah, I've heard those. Yes. We don't have to go down. It's a Thursday. Let's not talk about it.
No, we're going to go really,
No,
there's
I
a
don't
guy
need to.
on
I
Austin's
don't-
AAU basketball team. His dad is a
Yeah.
bridge builder.
Oh,
And we were talking about those stories at one of the barbecues.
yeah, that's nice. Hey,
Yeah.
give me another hot dog and a beer. Tell me about this death
Yeah.
story. That's
Yeah, so-
fantastic.
What
Right.
bridge has the most people?
Oh my God, that's terrible. Let's
just
hear from
happened?
Jokic. Here's Nikola Jokic. Or what do you call him? Hamokic?
What?
Hamokic?
Hamola.
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 Hamola, thank you. Hamokic.
Hamola Jokic.
Hamola Hamokic. Here he is.
Hamola
talking about tonight
Jokic.
on Denver. Here's the perception of the Denver Nuggets.
Is, throughout the year, even especially in the playoffs, you guys, pictured by the media as an underdog, and you, the coach Malone, have been talking about that. How you feel now that you're Frank, the favorite to win the finals, and what that changed for you?
Who said that we are favorites? The media? Las Vegas told us that we were underdog before. It's not correct, I think. I mean, I think we are not the favorites. I think in the finals there is no favorites. This is going to be the hardest game of our life, and we know that, and we are prepared for that. We are preparing and prepare for that. So I think there is no favorites, and definitely I think we are not favorites in this series. I think they are not either. I think it's just the finals. There is no favorites in the finals. My opinion.
Yeah.
So,
I
from a
think-
betting standpoint,
yeah.
he's wrong, obviously. But from a realistic standpoint, he's probably right? Like, if you make it to the finals, there shouldn't be a favorite or an underdog. You're both two of the best teams that have done it.
Yeah,
From that standpoint.
You're probably right. I mean, listen to Jokic, and I agree with Wally Montero, who says that it reminds him of Drago. Like, I think I'd be
Yes, if he
intimidated.
dies,
where
he
I was
dies.
like Jokic, Nikola. Yeah, you're the favorite in these NBA finals. Who said we're favorite? The Vegas. Just like the way he delivers is just amazing. I mean, it just is. It's amazing when you listen to Nikola Jokic. And no, I don't think Denver wants to go into it. They played this role the other thing is they've played this role of underdog, disrespected to an absolute team. Malone continues. I mean, Mike Malone gets out of the shower in the morning, pops on the lights in the bathroom and utters the same sentences over and over again to the mirror, basically about how nobody respects them, this and that. He's said it now for the last 8, 9, 10 days. Yeah. It's almost like a children's kid's toy. You just wind them up and away Mike Malone goes. So
he goes like this. He looks straight at the mirror and he goes, "They say you suck." Yes. That's right.
Yeah.
They say you can't coach.
Yes.
They say your team is terrible. Jokic, he's overrated. Jamal Murray, he was a bubble player. Hamal, that Irizarry, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Not at all. KCP, what does that even stand for? Denver, lackluster city. You suck. That's what he does. He looks at the camera and does that. And then the next thing you know, he turns to his guys. He goes, "Hey, guys, they all think we stink, man. So let's go win this game."
How about Jimmy Butler? Let's hear from Himmy Buckets, Himmy Butler, whatever you want to call him. He is great. There's no doubt about it. Here he is talking about his relationship with the late Demaryius Thomas.
Jimmy, I'm not sure how many people know how much time you've spent in Denver, especially at Broncos games. Can you share with us a little bit about your relationship with Demaryius Thomas and how bittersweet it is that he's obviously not going to be here cheering for you and maybe cheering for the Nuggets a little bit too?
That's my guy, my brother forever. I miss him so much. And I used to spend so much time here with him, watching him be great. And he motivated me because his story is really, really incredible through everything that he's been through to make it and do what he did for the Broncos. I actually have a lot of love for this city. And like I said, I miss that guy. I wish he was here to sit courtside and watch me do my thing because we talked about this all the time. Maybe not, Denver versus my team, but just being able to watch me win a championship like he did.
Yeah. I mean,
amazing.
Yeah, amazing stuff. It really is when there's nothing. It's I said it before. Like if I was not a Knick fan, Miami's an easy store to root for. I am a Knick fan, so therefore I'm going to root hard for the Denver Nuggets because I just cannot stand the idea of watching Pat Riley celebrating there, smiling. But it has nothing to do with the fact that I have healthy respect for Jimmy Butler. Love the fact of the story of Caleb Martin. Love the story of Gabe Vincent, Bam Adebayo. There's something to be said about 28 years ago when Pat Riley, September 1st, I believe it was, 1995, when the Knicks traded Pat Riley to the Miami Heat for a first-round pick and $1 million in cash. The very next day, he was named Heat head coach. And from that point forward, the rest is history. It really is. And he has done as everyone else, Spoelstra as well. They've done he sets the tone, though. There's no question. From Tim Hardaway Jr. and Dan Marley and Alonzo Mourning to, Dwayne Wade and Shaq to Dwayne Wade, Bosh and LeBron James to now this rendition of it with Jimmy Butler. It's remarkable. It just is what that program's been able to do. Think about this, 28 years since Riley took over. They've been to 7 NBA finals.
Amazing.
I mean, it's insane. I mean, they've been to the NBA finals 7 times in the last 28 years. The Knicks in the last, 50 years have been to 1 NBA finals. I mean, think about that. 28 years they've been to 7. The Knicks have been to 1 in the last 50 years. When you counted
94 and 99.
Oh, 2. I'm sorry. 2 NBA finals. Correct. Thank you. 2 NBA finals in the last. But think about that. I mean, it's insane. 94, 99 since they won their last championship, and the Heat have been there 7 times. Yeah. Crazy.
Jimmy Butler, first in clutch points this playoff series, throughout the playoffs, first in steals, first in ISO points. All right. So Jimmy Butler, Himmy Butler, Himothy Butler, he is him. He is Jimmy Buckets, Himmy Buckets, whatever you want to call him. He has been the leader of men. And say what you want about a lot of the guys on this team. And I know that the narrative, and we'll hear it tonight, and we'll hear it throughout the NBA finals, and you'll hear it on every show you're at that you're listening to, whether it's us or someone else, you will hear it. And it's worth mentioning. It's like, I guess you had to always say that Ryan Fitzpatrick was an Ivy League quarterback, right? But this is a team full of many undrafted players, castaways. Jimmy Butler kind of preaches about how he was a castaway. He's been on multiple teams. No one ever believed in him, all this kind of stuff. There's something to it. And the Heat culture thing, That's from Riley and Spoelstra down. But the hard hat type of thing, the chip on the shoulder that the Denver Nuggets are trying to give themselves, like I truly believe these Miami Heat players, like guys like Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin, like they're playing this entire playoffs not just to win an NBA championship. They're playing for a contract. Like if Jokic and the Nuggets lose in the NBA Finals, Jokic is still going to have his multi-million dollar contract next year. So is Jamal Murray. So is Michael Porter. So is Aaron Gordon. Like on and on and on. You go down the line, right? But you look at the Miami Heat, except for Butler and Bam Adebayo, like you've got guys either at the ends of their careers like Kyle Lowry or guys like Duncan Robinson and Caleb Martin and Gabe Vincent and Highsmith, and like all of these guys that at times over the last 3, 4, 5 years have almost been begging to be in the NBA. And now they're getting to showcase their skills on the highest level, on the highest stage with the grandest amount of viewers there. Like this is not just about winning an NBA championship. This is about proving they belong in the NBA. And many of them already have. And, you know, a guy like Caleb Martin, and I know I'm going off on a diatribe here.
No,
a guy like Caleb Martin.
He's going to get paid.
Yeah, like he's going to make his money. But has Gabe Vincent done enough yet? I think so. But if Gabe Vincent has a big NBA Finals, if Duncan Robinson goes out there and hits 2 3-pointers in every game this year, maybe the mantra of him just being a shooter and like whatever, like if he could hit a layup every once in a while and he can prove that he belongs to be on the floor, like it's longer careers for these guys. There's a lot on the line for the Miami Heat.
No doubt about it. We'll come back. Why don't we get into some player props for tonight, game 1 of the NBA Finals. Also, big payday for Monty Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Ginormous payday. We'll get into that as well, as the Pistons have got themselves a new head coach. He's Keith Arizari. I'm Mark Malusis. Thanks for being with us on this Thursday right here on the Better Sports Network.
Moose and Keith. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern.
The word genius is there. Bob Glauber, it describes him. Bob, so when's the last time that Twitter defeated you? Because I've been defeated by Twitter today.
I'll tell you how Twitter defeated me one time. I had the mistaken impression that the year that Troy Polamalu won the Defensive Player of the Year, it looked like it was going to go to Clay Matthews Jr., and I tweeted it. And there was a guy on the media bus. He was like, oh, yeah, he's got it, a guy I trust. I won't tell you who it was, but his initials are Mike Garafalo. So I went with it. Got a DM from Rich Eisen, NFL Network. He goes, you sure about that? I go, oh, man. Oh, I just got this wave because like accuracy to me is really important.
Yeah.
So I'm literally on the media bus. We're just getting back from media day. We are slipping and sliding in Dallas. It's snowing. I get off the bus. I open my laptop. I am hunched over, and I just like literally people are passing me. Bob, what's wrong? And it was Polamalu, and Adam Schefter had retweeted me. Trey Wingo had retweeted me. I'm like, oh, I'm dead.
So when it's Polamalu, then how do you handle that? Like, what was the subsequent tweet
I think
afterwards?
I said, got some bad Twitter info. I didn't put Garafalo's name on there. I had to
10 years later, you can out him. I like that. Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't mind that. He knows the stories.
Yeah.
He actually said to me, hey, Bob, I think you might have jumped the gun on that. I was like, oh, crap. There we go.
Campus to Canton on the Better Sports Network.
Would Dion bench Shedeur?
I don't think he would.
Like, how bad would it have to be? Because we've seen horrendous quarterback play from this Colorado team for the last, 4 years, 5 years? JT Shroud, Brandon Lewis, just terrible quarterback play. Like, they were 131st, which is dead last in pass EPA per play. Obviously, it will be better, but how bad does it have to be for him to bench his own son? Like, I'm not sure he will ever either, like, especially with the attitude that he came in with.
If they don't get Rashada, who do they bench him for this year anyway? I don't know that there's another answer on that roster that you go to. They don't really have a guy behind him, so I don't even know if we would know the answer to that until the next year, assuming that, he doesn't declare for the draft, he returns, they bring somebody else that's competent and behind him.
If they're going to do this the Lincoln Riley way, next year would be the class to bring somebody in. Shedeur Sanders is going to be a third-year player, so he's going to play 2023. I don't think he's declaring for the 2024 NFL draft, so he's going to play in 2024 and then declare for the 2025 NFL draft. And let's remember this, he hasn't had a full recruiting cycle at Colorado. He will have that next recruiting cycle. So maybe he could get one of these class of 2024 quarterbacks there to come to Colorado.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Better Sports Network.
Past 10 on this Thursday morning. Moose and Keith with you on the Better Sports Network. Do want to let everyone know in the chat session and the like, Jay Cabasa, Wally, Baby J, everybody that watches us on a day in, day out basis. We are hitting the summer months here at Better Sports Network. So in June and July, Keith and I, we're just going to be doing one show a week every Tuesday from 10 to noon. We're still going to be on and obviously be back hopefully in August or maybe September, where we'll be doing everything full-time 5 days a week. But we're going to be starting next week on Tuesdays, Keith. We're going to be out from 10 to noon here on the Better Sports Network.
Yeah, the word is, and tell me listen, I don't want to give out your private information here, but the word was that you wanted to work on your tan a little bit.
Yeah.
You were like,
I've got a lot of skin to cover.
Yeah. Stupid. Keith you got me there. You got Anyway, that I had gotten too tan for you too quickly. You're like, I mean, it's June 1st. Look at this guy. It looks like it's mid-July, mid-August. So you need a few extra days to be able to tan a little bit. The problem is it also gives me some time to tan as well.
Well, right. And it's the summer and want to obviously be back full force come football season.
Yep.
And just talking with everybody and Matt and the company the last couple of weeks. This is kind of the plan. Obviously, we still wanted to try and do shows. We're going to do shows. We're going to do them every Tuesday. Maybe we'll do some special shows here or there. But the point being is that every Tuesday we'll be here 10 to noon. We still love Better Sports Network. We're still here with you. And it's going to be every Tuesday from every 2 hours on every Tuesday here moving forward for the next couple of months before we get into the heart of the NFL coverage.
Yep, and that'll start next week. So today's our final show of the week. We're both off tomorrow. And obviously then we'll start up next Tuesday. So Tuesdays, I don't know what, maybe we'll come up with, I'm here, Wally's
Loco
Tuesdays. Yeah, we'll come up with some fun stuff.
Yeah,
This is what I would say to all of our loyal viewers and followers here. Like, make your voices heard. Like, get on the air. Like, you guys are great in the chat, but we want to hear your voices and see your faces too. Maybe we don't want to see Baby J's face all the time. Probably saw his a little too much.
I mean, Wally, want to hear from you. Baby J, want to hear from you. Jay Cabasa, we want to hear from you because we'll be back on Tuesday. Dave Sharapan's going to join us top of the 11 o'clock hour. We haven't chatted with Dave in a couple of weeks here, so it's been a while. So we're going to head out to Vegas. And we're going to talk to Sharapan. He's going to join us at the top of the 11. So just want to make everything. Keith and I, and we chat with Matt yesterday and kind of talked about the fact of we wanted to make sure that everyone out there knew exactly what the plan was here moving forward. So hopefully you guys will be with us on Tuesdays and after that for the next couple of months and after that for the duration.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's the plan.
All right, so I'm going Heat plus 5.5 in the first half. All right, that's what I'm going to take, minus 110. I'm also going to go over in this game, 219.5. So I was crunching the numbers. The over 4-0 in the last 4 games in which there was a 2 or more days rest for Miami. Okay, so I mean for Denver. And obviously now we know they're on 10 days rest. The over is 10-3 in the last 13 games on the road for these teams. I'm not saying that we're getting to 230 points. I think I thought the book set a really good number at 219.5, depending on which book you're looking at. I think we get to about 221, 222. So I'm going to take the over.
All right. So you like that. I like I don't love the Heat first half line. I think if I were to take Miami, it would probably be that. I wouldn't. I'm not telling you it's a bad play or anything, Keith. I agree with you about the over. I do like the over in the game. I think you're going to get some points tonight. I think Denver's want to try, and as I mentioned earlier in the hour, I think Denver's going to want to try and maximize shots, maximize possessions. They want volume, and I think they're going to get volume, so I would take the over 219.5. I agree.
What players were you looking at? Want to start with the stars first?
Yeah, let's start with Jokic.
All right, so Jokic, the best number I can find if you just want to go for points here is 27.5 at -105 on BetMGM. So basically just a 5-cent boost from, or negative boost from even money here. 28 or more points in 7 of his last 9 playoff games. I think you could look at the points, rebounds, assists. I think you could look at double doubles. I also, I didn't even look at it. I probably should. What's the triple double number for him?
I don't know.
Let me see. Here, go ahead. What do you think of Jokic over 27.5? And I'm going to pull up the triple double number for you.
I think he's fresh as a daisy. And I think that's a problem for the Miami Heat. I don't think they have a way of stopping Nikola Jokic. And I think the way, first off, Miami's a smaller basketball team too. So Jokic was able to do what he was able to do when he was being guarded at times by Anthony Davis, who's one of the best defensive big men in the NBA. Now you're going up against a very physical Bam Adebayo, but he's small. I mean, that's it for a guy that plays the position that he plays. He does it really well, but he doesn't have great size. You look at Jokic. I don't think Jokic is going to get tossed around like we saw Sabonis getting tossed around earlier in the playoffs, where he's picking himself off of the floor, where he's got to add a little bit, or guys like out in Cleveland, Jared Allen, were getting tossed around by the New York Knicks in the opening round. That's not happening to Jokic. People look at him and joke around about being a bad body and a dad's body. And, those that see him in person say it's complete and utter nonsense. Like Jokic he might not look cut and doesn't have all that kind of
thick dude,
but he is in shape. Like, and Jokic, I would take the over 27.5. Like, I think Jokic is good for 35 tonight.
Triple double, even money on DraftKings.
Yeah.
I kind of like that, actually.
That's not bad.
Triple double for even money? -105 on FanDuel, -117 on Caesars.
I think Denver's going to try and come out and send a message early in this series and come out like gangbusters. I do. I like that. So what else you got in terms of player props?
All right, let's go to Jimmy next. I'm really confused about the point totals here for Jimmy. It's been very up and down. I think you could get 28. I think you can get 19. So I'm not touching the point total, but I think he's going to have to be involved on the boards. And DraftKings is the best number I found, +115 for over 7.5 rebounds for Jimmy Butler. 8 or more rebounds, 5 of his last 7 playoff games.
Okay.
I think he's going to need to be active. Like if the Heat are going to either win this game or be alive in this game, it's like every man has to do everything for this team. And Jimmy Butler can't just score 26 points. I don't think that's going to win for them. I think that it's going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if Butler gets, 6 assists. I could look at his assist number 2, but just the plus money there, +115 on DraftKings really caught my eye.
One thing that caught my eye, Nikola Jokic +135 to be the leading scorer of both teams tonight.
Ooh, I like that.
I like that.
Ooh, I like that.
+135.
What are Jimmy's assist numbers? Let me just look that up for you too. So the assists, the books are, they're giving us 5.5 with heavily juiced. -145, -146, -150. Nah, I'm out. Doesn't do much here. What is a double-double for him? If you believe that Jimmy could get you 10 rebounds, double-double for Jimmy's +245. But he's the kind of guy that gets you 19 points, 20 points, 21 points, and 9 rebounds. Like he always falls 1 rebound or 1 assist short of a double-double.
That's true. Let me ask you this. If you believe that, if you like Miami in the series, and there's some guys in our chat session, I think, Wally, Jay, Kabasa, Baby J, they're going back and forth on who wins the series tonight, right? So if you believe Miami wins the series, if you like them to pull off and shock the world. Butler's +430 to be NBA Finals MVP. Caleb Martin is 65-1. Adebayo is 40-1. Porter Jr.'s not Porter Jr. Tyler Hero is 500-1. Strus is 500-1. So is Gabe Vincent. When you look at it, don't you think that if Jimmy Butler won Eastern Conference Finals MVP, if I like the Heat to win this series, and I think they're going to shock the world again, then is there not a direct correlation that it's going to be Jimmy Butler to be the Finals MVP, and I'm getting 4-1 on Jimmy Butler?
Yes.
I mean, unless Caleb Martin, and people feel bad after he should have been Eastern Conference Finals MVP, he doesn't get it. The only 2 plays, if I'm looking at futures for Finals MVP, would be Caleb Martin or Jimmy Butler. Those would be the 2 that I would look at. I don't think anyone else is really in play for Miami. I think the only guy that really is in I mean, Nikola Jokic right now is minus 340 to be Finals MVP. There's no odds there. Can you see anybody outside of Jokic being the Finals MVP for Denver?
No, I couldn't. I think it's Jokic as MVP, and I mean, what if Jamal Murray averages 30 a game? Right.
But let me ask you this: is 12-1 enough for you?
I mean, I guess if I'm going to build a portfolio, what's the Jokic number?
Minus 340.
Minus 340 for MVP?
Minus 340.
So there's no value there. So I'm not going to bother. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread my units around. If I believe that Miami has any chance, I'm going to do something on Butler and something on Murray.
Okay. So you would do Butler and Murray. Do you think there's an argument? Do you think Jokic, say this is a 7-game series, he's clearly the best player on the court. Do you think Jokic could win the MVP without Denver winning the finals?
No. I mean, if LeBron didn't do it.
Yes, I agree.
Against the Warriors, and they gave it
to
Iggy. And I mean, LeBron should have been the MVP of that series. He was clearly the best and most important player in that. I mean, they gave Iguodala the MVP, and LeBron averaged, like, what was it, 35, 9, and 9 in the series.
Right, but is there some guy we're not thinking about? Everyone's going to look at Caleb Martin at 65-1. Is there somebody out there that's going to be the Andre Iguodala who gets the MVP that we're not thinking of?
I don't believe so. I don't.
See, I don't think Porter or Gordon get enough burn. I don't think you can go Strus.
Well, because in that series,
by burn, I mean, I don't think they're going to score enough points. They play a ton of minutes. I just don't think they're going to score enough points. Gabe Vincent, no.
I think there's only 3 players that can win this MVP.
The only thing that could change it is if you have, like, say,
an
Gabe
injury.
Vincent. Well, no, injury plays a factor, of course. But, you know, if you have Gabe Vincent where, you know, he's averaging 18 points a game and he hit 2-game winners in the series.
Or Miami wins in 5, Jokic struggles, and Bam averages 17 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
Right? And then some of the credit is going to Bam's defense on Jokic.
No, and I like to play long shots. I do. I do think, like, listen, if you like, I would say this though, like if you really, and we're trying to create a storyline or a narrative for somebody outside of Jimmy Butler for the Miami Heat winning the MVP, if you really like Miami, I mean, you're getting great odds on them to win the series. You're getting them at +9 tonight in game 1. Keith ran through it before as far as teams with extended layoffs going into, you know, the finals or series and how it kind of hurts them. So there's an argument to be made there. Miami's been discounted every step of the way, and they've gone out there and beat every team that's been in their way after that opening playing game loss to the Atlanta Hawks. So Jimmy Butler, though, would be the guy. Like, you're getting right now 4-1 on Butler to be the MVP, and he's the best player on the team, and they're in the NBA Finals, and he's really the leader of the entire team. If Jimmy Butler, after what Caleb Martin did, who shot 60% from the floor, 50% from 3 in 7 games against the Boston Celtics, like, if Caleb Martin didn't win the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, like, what would you need to do?
Yeah, he ain't gonna get
to upend Jimmy Butler as the MVP if
It's not gonna
Miami
happen.
wins.
Well, because the other thing too is, like, Jimmy was great in the series. Caleb Martin may have been more important at times, but Jimmy Butler is still the best player. And there are narratives, right? Like, when it gets down to it, let's say game 6, Miami wins in Miami. They win they win the series 4-2. Unless Jimmy stinks, he's going to win the MVP.
Agreed.
Like, Jimmy would have to be bad, and Miami would have to win, like, in spite of him, not because of him. And Caleb Martin's got to give you, 20 points a game and play such great defense on, let's say, Jamal. Let's say they decide to have his length go up against Jamal Murray, and he limits Jamal Murray. Like, I could find a vision where someone else wins the MVP, but none of it, quote unquote, makes sense if I'm wording that correctly.
No, that makes sense. No,
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. How many games do you think this series goes?
Nuggets in 6. They win in Miami.
So you think Nuggets in 6? I'm trying to think here. I had it before. I think you're getting +250 for 6 games. For exact series, not Nuggets in 6. I'm talking about the total games in the series. I think it's +250. for to be a 6-game series. Which is not bad. Anything
That's
else
not
when
bad.
you're looking at the player props, Keith, that you got?
Yeah, I mean, I do think Caleb Martin's going to have a nice night tonight. I think he'll continue to roll. There's no layoff there. He's feeling a high. How about over 15.5 points for him? Minus 120 on FanDuel. He averaged a little bit over 19 points per game in the previous series against the Celtics. Also gave you 16 or more points in 5 of the last 6. And just kind of look at the numbers that Caleb has put together this postseason as opposed to what he did in the regular season. So 9.6 points per game during the regular season. In the postseason, a little bit over 14. He 3-pointers, averaging almost one more made 3-pointer per contest. You like that? His field goal percentage is up over 10% better. 3-point percentage up over 8% better. I'm all in on Caleb Martin. I think he keeps it going tonight.
All right, so you like Caleb Martin. Anything else tonight went individually?
No, player-wise, that's it for me. Like I said, so my card would read like this. Heat plus 5.5 in the first half. I'd lean over. It's not one of my favorite plays, but I like it. Jokic over on the points. Go to BetMGM for your best number. I would maybe dabble on the triple-double there. DraftKings gets you even money on Jokic. I got to find an angle on Jimmy Butler, so I'm going to go to the over 7.5 rebounds at plus 115. I'm going to give you Caleb Martin over 15.5 points at minus 120. That's on FanDuel. So those are the plays on my card.
I like that. I like the Jokic over points tonight. I agree with you about Caleb Martin as well. I would probably take Denver for the game. I'd push back on the narrative because I think you're going to get it time and time again about the extended break. I think Denver responds in kind tonight, and I think they could win the game.
I just think Denver's not going to – I think Denver's going to play great, but I think Miami's going to play well in the first half, and it's going to be close enough that the 5.5 is going to give me that buffer.
Big news in the NBA last night around in the head coaching circles, and that was that Monty Williams. I mean, a huge contract.
Whew.
6 years. I mean, I saw Shams last night was $72 million. I think it's been bumped up.
78.5 now.
$78.5 million.
Could be 100 with incentives.
Monty Williams. I think it's a hell of a hire. Good job by Troy Weaver. Troy Weaver is a guy that, has been a basketball lifer. People don't remember when you think about, and maybe you haven't followed his entire career. I mean, Troy Weaver was the reason why Carmelo Anthony went to the Syracuse Orange. I mean, because he was the main recruiting guy and got him up to Syracuse and was part of that staff for a little bit until Carmelo was done. And then Troy Weaver moved on. And you see that time and time again in college basketball, Keith. But, he's now running the Detroit Pistons. Good on their owner. Good on Troy Weaver. They saw an opportunity and they had to convince Monty Williams, here's life-changing money. I mean, they're paying him, they're paying him over right around $13 million a year to be the head coach of the Detroit Pistons. I think there's only one guy, Bogdanovich, on Detroit that's making 12 a year. That's it when you look at the Pistons. There's not anybody else on that team. It's a young team.
Cunningham, Ivy.
Wiseman
now.
Right. Wiseman, who's been a stiff in the NBA, but James Wiseman's out there in Detroit now. I think listen, for Williams, who got tossed to the side in Phoenix, and I'm not telling you that it was those collapses or those elimination game performances left a bitter taste in a lot of people's mouths. He was 2022 NBA Coach of the Year. He could clearly coach in this league. I think Detroit, they had to pay for it. They had to convince him with money because it's the Pistons, and they're historically dreadful as of late. But they got themselves a hell of a head coach.
Pistons won 17 games last year. With Monty Williams, with Cade Cunningham back, with whomever they draft at number 4 or number 5. Thank you. At 5, there's no reason to believe that they can't move from 17 to 27 wins. That's not that's not moving the needle that much. But when Monty took over the Hornets, they won 9 more games the following year. When Monty took over the Suns, they won 15 games the following year. They won 64 games in Phoenix during the 21-22 season, and he was the coach of the year. He clearly knows what he's doing. Now, I will say that $78.5 million and $100 million for a head coach that is not Spoelstra or Popovich is a lot of money, and I'm not so sure that he would have said no if it would have been $65 million. But I think you said it. You're in Detroit. And no, this is not throwing shade at the city of Detroit. It's more about the actual team of Detroit. Yeah, you're going to have to pay up a little bit to get a coach who's been a coach of the year. Exactly.
Yeah, well, yeah. Because it's the Pistons. I mean, if he was going to a team that was capable of winning a championship, like say for argument's sake, if the Boston Celtics fired Joe Mazzulla and they said, well, we'd like to hire Monty Williams to be their next head coach, it wouldn't cost the Celtics $13 million a year. It would not anywhere close, because the Celtics have an opportunity to win an NBA championship, and it's the Boston Celtics. Not trying to insult the Detroit Pistons. They've got a history of losing. I know they have a history of success. The Bad Boys and Ben Wallace and Rip Hamilton and Tayshaun Prince. We know the history of Detroit, but as of late, they've been basically a little more than a speed bump for the rest of the NBA when they've taken on the Detroit Pistons. Monty Williams needed to be convinced. Hey, come here, because if you're not going to cash in then, because you're putting your reputation on the line, if it ends up being a dumpster fire, you're going to have a hard time being an NBA head coach once again. If you're able to revitalize the Detroit Pistons, this might be the last NBA head coaching job that he has, because he might be there for the next 10 or 12 years. Yeah. He wanted to get paid. He got paid, and Detroit got themselves a great head coach. Williams can win. And I think he's the right temperament and tone for the team that they have. Like you mentioned about Popovich. You mentioned about Spoelstra, guys like that, like Thibodeau. Like, you needed to bring in a guy that understands, how young this team is, how dynamic they potentially can be, and the ability to connect with those players. I think Monty Williams can do all that.
I think he can do all of that. I think it's a really good fit for Monty, a really good fit for the organization. And again, like, the cupboard is not bare. Cade Cunningham missed all of last season. He's an excellent basketball player. Now, I say that to say this. We don't know if he's an excellent NBA basketball player, but he's an excellent basketball player. I like Jaden Ivey a lot. Duran as well. I saw someone in the chat mention the kid Duran and Wiseman. Like, who knows? Maybe they could figure him out. And then they're going to draft someone at 5 as well. There's no reason to believe that 17 wins can't turn to 27. And if 27 wins ends up being what you get out of Detroit, I think the Pistons got what they needed out of Monty Williams.
What about the report yesterday coming out of an unnamed NBA executive? God, I always love these, whether it be NBA, NHL, NFL executive, whatever it might be, always unnamed, believes that if the Knicks make a big splash this summer and a big trade, it will be RJ Barrett that will be part of that trade.
I mean, I could have said that also. I think that's, what else
not
did the
Julius
Knicks
Randle, not Randle.
But all right, so
that's the point. The point is that it's not Julius Randle that would be going. It would be RJ Barrett that would be going.
It's because RJ's more sellable. Like, Randle's a better
sellable to a team that doesn't win in the, like, I understand the negatives of Julius Randle in the postseason, but in the regular season, he's a constant.
The narrative being written on Julius Randle, whether correct or not, okay? Again, I'm not trying to tell you whether it's correct or not. I don't cover the Knicks day in and day out. I'm not a beat reporter for the New York Knicks. I don't work for the local New York stations like you do. So maybe you feel free to push back on this. But the narrative on Randle is that he's a so-so teammate and he's a me guy.
Okay.
Right? That's the narrative. Truth or not truth, neither here nor there. If there's any truth to that narrative, would you rather have RJ Barrett, who's 22 years old and seemingly just missing an outside shot? If you get him a shot doctor and he suddenly can hit 3-pointers,
but he's missed that. He's been missing that outside
3 years. 3 years.
And at Duke.
Sure. I know. No. I know. But if I am a team that's going to trade, like, I'm assuming this.
He needs to get to the kid.
Something to do with
his Ari driveway in beautiful Long Island, and he'll
come on out
on a shot.
I could teach.
You could teach.
But
I look fingers.
Yes.
Spread the fingers. Drop down.
The hand has to fit. What I say, hand finishes in the rim. If the hand is finishing in the rim, you're giving your shot a chance for the ball to go through.
I love it. I love it. That's what I'm talking about. We need the doctor. Dr. Keith is in the building.
I've watched enough of these videos, but I think my point is this. All right, so I think everyone's talking about Portland, right? Like that's the elephant in the room, Dame Lillard, right? Like nobody knows anything, but everyone thinks they know everything. If Damian Lillard is the guy that you're talking about, Julius Randle is not exciting for the Portland Trailblazers. There's nothing about Julius Randle that makes the Portland Trailblazers go, "Oh, yay, we got Julius," right? Like,
no, I don't. Right, I don't. But I think for Knick fans, though, I don't disagree with anything you said. I agree. I think RJ Barrett, even with his deficiencies, is more sellable and more exciting because you're going to still bank on the fact that he's young, good teammate, workable, all those things. The Knick fan, though, would be forlorn because I think the Knick fan is hoping and praying that Julius Randle is the one that goes and not RJ Barrett.
Right. So that's where is this rumor coming from? Is it coming from like a Knicks standpoint or an NBA standpoint? Do you know what I mean?
Well, it was an NBA executive. It wasn't a Knicks. Now it could have covered it and it could have been a Knick executive and just said it was NBA just to cover their backs and their rear ends a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's interesting. I don't know if the Knicks are going to make that big splashy trade this summer. I really don't. I don't know what the package would. I don't even think like if Dame Lillard is really available for the Portland Trailblazers, how they couldn't get a sexier package that's surrounding around a better player than RJ Barrett.
Yeah, if it was RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, insert another player and multiple firsts, is that enough for Damian Lillard?
Maybe. I mean, maybe.
Maybe?
You'd have to see what else is around there. What else is out there? I mean,
you're calling Boston if you're Portland, and you really are entertaining the idea of trading Damian Lillard, you have to call Boston about Jaylen Brown. You have to.
No doubt about it. I would agree with that. And speaking of Boston, the report yesterday is that 3 of Joe Mazzulla's assistants are heading to Houston to join Ime Udoka's staff with the Houston Rockets. So they're leaving town as well. It was a good point. It was something that, I didn't really think about when Geltzeiler is, if you are Boston and everyone wants to, just rip Joe Mazzulla apart for the coaching job and that he was overwhelmed and a first-year head coach, that is fair. How do you not provide Mazzulla with more support around him?
They didn't give him anything.
They didn't give him anything. Now 3 of those assistants are leaving. One of the main, he was a guy that was on the second row of coaches. He got bumped up. Lead guy basically left for Utah to become their head coach. Udoka obviously was suspended. He's now the Rockets head coach. And you did not replace those guys. Like, if you're the Boston Celtics, like, you've got to go to work. As much as you have to make a decision on Jaylen Brown, you have to make the decision on Mazzulla first, whether or not he's going to be here. And if he is, then you've got to bring in guys to support your head coach and bring smart guys, advanced guys. I mean, guys with veteran experience on that staff as well to support Joe Mazzulla to make that look a lot better than it did.
But I would also say that you need to have a little bit of caution for, like, I'm not saying he's available, but I'm not bringing a Kenny Atkinson onto the staff. Because you don't want your 34, 35-year-old head coach to be looking over his shoulder, thinking that they hired my replacement.
Really, I agree with that.
Right? Like, totally. Yeah. So you might want a veteran assistant coach or someone who's been around the league for a while, but it's got to be someone that Mazzulla is going to feel comfortable with and also feel comfortable not looking over his shoulder, thinking that guy is here to take my job.
You think game 1 next year, Jaylen Brown is a Boston Celtic?
I do. Yes.
Do you think Joe Mazzulla is the head coach?
I'm not as confident about that one, but probably.
Yeah, I think they're both back.
Yeah.
I think they're both back.
Yeah, I don't think Boston's going to have that many changes. I think Boston could sit there and look at, we were immature in game 3 and got blown out by Miami.
Yeah.
And in their minds, they're going to say, if Tatum doesn't roll his ankle on play 1 of game 7, we win game 7. I think that's what they're going to say in their mind.
I would agree with that. I'd agree. And I think that game would look distinctly different if Tatum was all the way JT.
Yeah. I mean, I would have liked to have seen a real Boston Celtics team that game.
No doubt about it. We'll come back. We're going to head out to Vegas. Our buddy Dave Sharapan is going to join us. We got to get into his Stanley Cup futures bets because they're impressive. He absolutely nailed it. I mean, he's just a maestro when it comes to that stuff. Sharapan will join the program next. We'll do that. It's Moose and Keith. He's Keith Arizaria. Mark Malusis on this Thursday right here, Better Sports Network.
Monday Night Rants with Edward Rouse on Better Sports Network.
Do you believe in the Madden curse? Do you think that's a real thing?
I did. Now, I don't think it's as big of a deal anymore, but it was a real thing for a solid 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it was Sean Alexander, LaDainian Tomlinson, Peyton Hillis.
LT was never on the cover. I know that.
Was he not? I thought he was one. Okay, well, you do know all the covers of everything.
Yeah, okay. So if you want, I could do this real quick. So Garrison Hurst is the first official Madden cover athlete, 1999. 2000, I believe they still put John Madden on the cover. And then 2001 is where it all started. So 2001, you have Eddie George. 2002, Dante Culpepper. 2003, Marshall Falk. 04, Michael Vick. 05, Ray Lewis, first defensive player on the cover.
Okay.
06, Donovan McNabb. 07, Sean Alexander.
Okay.
08, Vince Young. 09, Brett Favre.
Okay.
10 is a trick one because it's
No way you know.
and Larry Fitzgerald. 11, Drew Brees. 12, Peyton Hillis. 13, Calvin Johnson, I believe so.
You're right.
14.
No way you know all this.
14, also a trick question.
Uh-huh.
I believe that's the Madden 25 cover, and it's Barry Sanders, unless you got it for the new consoles, in which case Adrian Peterson
Oh my God.
was on the cover.
You're not cheating. You're not looking at.
Swear on my life. Swear on my life.
Okay. Keep on going.
15, you have Richard Sherman.
Okay.
16, okay, hold on. 16 is Odell Beckham.
Okay.
16. 17, now this is the one I get mixed up because 17 and 18 are back-to-back Patriots.
They are.
17, I think, is Gronk, and 18 is Brady.
You are correct.
19 is Antonio Brown.
Correct.
20, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my goodness.
21, Lamar Jackson. 22, Brady Mahomes. 23, John Madden. But yeah, dude, I'm a cover nerd when it comes to this stuff.
We now know, but that was really impressive. I don't know how.
Thank you.
That's literally 29 of them or something like that. Wow, that is. You did not miss a single one, and you even got the special editions where they had two people on the covers.
Monday Night Rants on Better Sports Network.
Now it's time for Floyd Mayweather's uncle, Dave Sharapan.
Uncle Dave!
Dave is back.
What's up, boys?
What's going on, Dave? Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you both. What's happening?
Good to see you. What? Oh, that's the bananas hat.
The Savannah Bananas. Yeah, Savannah Bananas. Baseball.
Why aren't you playing for that team? You should be playing on that team.
100% I would go tomorrow.
I feel like you and Cody Decker should be on that team together.
Yeah, I'll go do whatever they want. I mean, Bill Lee, 77 years old, comes out and pitches an inning. He recorded it out.
And doesn't he come in? Doesn't he come in from the stands after drinking a beer?
He comes. I don't know. He came in. I was like, wait a second. I thought he was just going to walk out. He grabs the ball. He starts loosening up. I needed a radar gun on him. Like he was humming. You know,
what do you think he's hitting? 80 still or no?
It was close.
Yeah.
I that was the number. I said he's throwing 77.
Yeah. What would you throw
77.
right now?
Oh,
you've got like shoulder issues, don't you?
No, yeah, I don't know. It would take me a while to get loose. I tried to do it at the All-Star game last year. I went to LA with Kylie.
Yeah.
The last time I threw in front of a radar.
Yeah, you had your amazing gear on for MLB Network for us. Yeah.
58.
58. Okay.
I picked up the ball.
Yeah, that's not good.
Kylie was like, Daddy, don't do it. You're going to hurt your shoulder. And I was like, yeah, but I just want to see.
I'm going to loosen up.
While I just tried to go like this real fast, was waiting in line for 3 minutes, grabbed the ball, closed my eyes, threw it. First one was 57. I was like, that's it? That's all I got?
You felt like it was rigged, right?
Yeah. I don't know. 58 was the next one. That was it.
The problem with that thing, and we've all been at, you know, the local fair and done that, or a kid's birthday party, you know, whatever it is. Yeah. Like, listen, we're all like older now. We can't just grab a baseball and throw it and think it's going to be our best. Like, we really would need warm-up throws. It would be like,
yeah, you need to stretch.
Yeah. It would be like any of us saying like, let's go do the 40-yard dash. Right?
No,
not a good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I still get tormented. The last time I went to the carnival when I was a kid, and not the last time, but one of the times I went to a carnival in Pearl River, New York, and they had the dunk tank, and the clown in the dunk tank that would like torment people and insult people. And I was getting called fat by the
God, are you serious?
Yeah.
That's not nice.
Yeah, that's what they do, man.
Wait, where was this?
In Pearl River, New York. It's in Rockland County.
Pearl River Pirates.
That's exactly right. Yes, basketball program. Yes, I still get haunted by that. Yes.
Ah, come on. That's ridiculous.
Did you hit the target? Did you dunk the
I
clown?
did dunk him.
Of
Yes,
course
I
you did.
dunk him. Yes.
Right. That's as long as you dunk the clown. Say, go swimming, man. That's it.
I got picked for field day next Thursday. I always get picked for field
That's
day
the best.
for the kids.
That's
Mostly because like not a lot of the
You're
dads.
highly athletic. Yes.
No, not a lot of the dads want to do it. It's usually the moms, right?
It's always the moms.
Yeah. So I put my name in the hat every year, and they know that I'm one of the dads that's going to be very active, running around with the kids. So I did it for Austin throughout the years. I've done it for Alex now. So this year, Jody gets a text from one of the moms, the PTA moms.
Oh.
Hey, so we really would like Keith to be in the dunk tank.
Oh, that's all. Yes.
Jody sends me the text, and I write back, absolutely not. I am not doing the dunk
Why
tank.
not?
Not a chance. Nope.
What?
No.
You got to do it. That's a great memory.
They would have so much fun trying to get you, and you could show off. You could wear a onesie.
No, see,
and
that's
just
the
sit there and
problem.
pose
No,
for all
nope.
the moms. This is right up your alley.
Also the problem. Don't want to be the guy that is in shape that looks like he's trying to show off. Nope, not doing it.
I don't
As you
see.
do
I don't
the flex
I don't
on
know.
here on stuff all the time.
Not doing
when
it.
you
No.
do the-
But
when
what do
do
you
the
like? I
things
don't
and
understand. Like
stuff.
that you're going to be showing off. For
I want the
kids,
big chubby dad to be there doing it. Let him have his
wait a
glory.
second. What exactly are you going to be wearing? Like like when showing off, you're going to be wearing a t-shirt, right?
No, I would be shirtless. You have to be shirtless if you're doing it, right?
No,
just wear a t-shirt.
Dude, it's
Got
with
him.
the kids.
No,
this
honestly,
is
I don't
not-
want to
this
do
is
it.
Not a
I just-
wet t-shirt
No,
contest, 1985.
I'm kidding. I'm
Are
kidding.
Lou
to
and
play it
Linda
up for
still watching this?
I'm
I
sure.
mean, we're
I'm
gonna
doing
have
it.
to talk
I'm
to
doing it
Lou
for
and
you
Linda
guys.
about this.
I don't. Nah, I just don't
Get in
want
the
to do it.
dunk tank. What's wrong
Nah.
with you?
Yeah, Wally
So-
said the Borat bathing suit.
Nice.
Why don't you wear
No,
one of
so
those?
usually I run kickball. Usually I run kickball. I thoroughly enjoy running kickball.
Oh, that's fun.
I'm
Yeah.
good with organization. The kids listen to me. I'd rather just do kickball, continue to do what I do. So I'm sticking with kickball.
Moose, you know what it is.
Yeah.
He can't not be in control. You know, he would have to sit there in that dunk tank.
I don't want
You're his
people
area.
dunking me in.
Well, I thought
No,
you were going to
he
be.
would
might
Like,
mess up my hair too.
the water's dirty.
Some little kid would walk up, you know, some fourth grader.
My
and
father's
zing it on the
texting me,
first
showed
pitch.
the bod off. That's what he just texted me.
Well, I know
See?
the Irizaris are they take care of themselves very, very well.
Man, oh
That-
man.
Nah,
looks like a
100%. This is
45-year-old
right
man.
up your alley. This would go viral. You
Yeah, I don't
being
want to
in
go
the
viral
dunk
for
tank?
that. I don't want to go viral.
Dude, you
for
know
that.
what this would be like if you went Insta Live?
Oh,
How about this? How about you do your MLB bets, like your tees from
Oh,
the dunk tank?
my
Dude,
my
from
social
the-
hit.
from the dunk tank.
have some mom
Dude,
video.
that
of
is
this.
that would be
You
gold.
go and
And then all of a sudden,
take
like,
the Angels to that.
and then all of a sudden, Jody walks by, is like terrible pick and dunks you. in
Hey,
the
my
water.
mother just said, "Don't do it." I'm listening to
No.
Linda.
No, listen to your dad.
Nope, I'm listening to Linda. Linda, Mom, you're the best.
Sometimes you got
Dad.
to listen to dad. Mom doesn't always know best.
Mom
Although,
always
Linda,
knows.
I have no qualms with you, but you should be in the dunk tank. 100%.
You think I should do the dunk tank?
Yeah, I think you're gonna do it.
100%.
I think you're gonna do it.
100%. You should do it. You listen. The kids will remember it forever.
Forever.
You will have so much fun just
Forever.
waving at them, smiling. You don't even have to be a jerk. Like
No,
you know,
you
other
don't have to be
dunk
like
tank. No.
Bozo the clown who was insulting
No.
me in Pearl River,
What
New York
if-
when I was 12 years old.
What if I'm just the helper there? Let
No,
someone
just
else
do
be
the
the
dunk
tank
tank.
person.
Just do it.
I don't know. I think you got to be the guy in the dunk tank.
Was it? I mean,
It's
Shesterkin
a
was in the
sign.
dunk tank for the NHL skills competition down in South Beach. He got dunked. He did it. You can't.
Sidney Crosby did it. All these
Wow,
guys.
I got a lot
did
of people saying they want me to do it.
Yeah, you should do
it.
it.
Yeah. Oh,
Wow.
you should definitely do it.
Yeah, it's a dunk
Did you
tank.
see Sidney Crosby when he did it for that?
Yeah.
He went in with those tight shorts. He's got model legs, tree trunks for legs, sitting there like this. You would be great.
By the way, Dave, you saw that your squad in Pittsburgh has got a new president of hockey operations, right?
Did they name him today?
They just named him, yes.
It's going to be a weird era.
Is
the
it?
Toronto GM who is now coming over? He's not going to be the general manager. He's president of hockey operations for the.
Was his
Pittsburgh
last
Penguins.
name begin with a K?
No, Dubas.
Dubas.
Dubas. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I heard about that. It's going to be a weird era in Pittsburgh as this transition.
Can you let Mike Sullivan go so the Rangers can hire him so we don't have to hire either Peter Laviolette or John Hines?
Well, this is what happens, right? Like at some
can you
point,
let Sullivan go? Do you have to be so greedy in Pittsburgh? Just let him go. He's got 1 year left on his deal. Just let him go so he
that
can
might
coach
be it.
Rangers.
Well, you guys are gonna who are you gonna sign?
No, they're talking about. Did you see who they're Peter Laviolette, who's going in for a second interview, who's coached, like I was texting with a buddy of mine, like Peter Laviolette, this would
half
be
the league.
I think this would be his 7th head coaching job in the NHL. And people are like, oh, he wins all over the place. Yeah, and he doesn't hang on like anywhere. Like he's coached, this would be his 7th different team in the NHL, or John Hines, who just got let go by Nashville. Or
the Laviolette thing I find fascinating. Like, is it just we believe he can help us win in 2 years?
Yeah, but here's the problem I look at the NHL.
What's the difference with him and Gallant, right?
Like, right. What's the difference? But it's the same retreads. Like, it's Laviolette, John Hines, Bruce Boudreau. Like, it's the same
I do
names.
love Uncle Brucey.
I mean, it's the same names over and over. Like, there's nobody else. You can't, you try and, there has to be, I mean, it's a $1 billion industry. There's got to be some other guys that can coach in the National Hockey League. It feels like it's the same names.
It's hard to get an opportunity, right?
It really
I
is.
mean, it's just kind of like what we're doing in this space and stuff. It's hard to get an opportunity. A lot of people, recycle and have connections, and they go to them first because it's the safe choice. When sometimes you got to look and get out there, and you might find a gem. I don't know.
So let me throw it out to both of you guys. And I see Better Boss put in there, get Gretzky. It's not going to happen. But is there a former New York Ranger that maybe doesn't even have coaching experience that you'd want to turn to? Like, like a Martin St. Louis, how they did it with him in Montreal. Like, do you want to try something like that?
Me personally, I would not. I think the guy, I'll tell you this. I think the guy they should hire that they won't, because they're scared to death of it basically being as disaster as the guy that coaches the Hartford team, Knobloch, who they like a lot, who Drury brought into the organization when he took over, and he's in his 40s. He's a guy that stepped in as interim head coach when Quinn was going through some health issues as well, when Quinn was still the head coach of the team. They love him in the organization. I think they're deathly afraid of him not like working on the NHL level or not being able to finish. That to me would be, I'd rather give him an opportunity than bring in John Hines or bring in Peter Laviolette.
What's more successful in those situations? A guy who's coached half the kids that came up, on the way up, and will have to just meld the stars and survive in the Big Apple and all that scrutiny, or bringing in an outsider.
I would rather hire from within.
Yeah,
I would, but I don't know where they're gonna. I mean, I don't know where they're gonna go. But I mean, the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, by the way, nice job by Gary. Can you wait any longer? Why don't we start the Cup Finals in July? How about July 4th holiday weekend? We start
Saturday night. Boys.
I mean, Saturday night. You're starting these Cup Finals. It's amazing. We're finally gonna get Kachuk and the Panthers taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. And Dave, you texted Keith and I the other day. Congratulations to you with your NHL futures, because you've got both Florida over Vegas and Vegas over Florida. You got it both ways. You can't lose.
Listen, there's a stack of tickets this big that are losers to get to that one. I told you I was buying.
But getting to those two, so are you still in the plus no matter what?
Yes, I'm in a plus, but it's a couple dimes, but that I'm going to collect, but it's probably profit is a dime, little over a dime, something like that. So, because I didn't buy the Florida tickets early enough. Like I waited to buy the Florida tickets because the Boston-Florida series, I didn't buy no tickets. I was like, Boston could lose. And I didn't believe in the Panthers. And they were down 3-1. And I was like, I'll wait. They were like 600-1 or something at the time. I should have bought them then. And I got busy with life and running around. I think I went to Arizona. And I was out of town, and they clinched, and I was like, so I came back and got the Florida ones second round before the second round started. There's a buzz in town, boys. You guys have been in places, have been there when they hosted the Stanley Cup final. It's awesome. The whole city is caught up in it. It is, it's just different. And this time, they played the Capitals the first time. It was the first year. Nobody believed that they were even going to get there, and then they did. And it was like, whoa, the team's in a Stanley Cup. And it was like, maybe we can win, maybe we can't. Everybody here thinks that the Knights are going to win. It's a done deal. And books have exposure on them for the futures and all this other stuff. I think the Panthers are live. I have to whisper it, though, when I say it. The kids are getting mad. Like, Daddy, what's wrong with you?
Your girls like
this
the
one's
Vegas
personal.
squad, yeah.
Yeah, they like the home team. This is their team. This is a whole generation of people that have been here.
Are you going to game 1?
I mean, if you guys know anybody that can help with,
I was just going to say that'd be a pretty penny, right?
It's over a mortgage payment to go to the game. I don't know if it's a viable possibility. I don't know. I'm working on it. Maybe game 2. Game 1 is.
Have you spoken to Joe Lisi? Did you see the tickets he has?
Have I spoken to Lisi?
He's got the Heat and he's got the Panthers. I know you're with them all the time. So.
He's Mr. Miami. I mean, Carver calls him Mr. Miami, and Lisi's not afraid to remind you that, one, he's the same age as me, 52. He's got the most beautiful head of hair.
He does.
And he's alive with these tickets. So
yeah, and he's taking photos shirtless on Memorial Day, telling everyone.
Yeah, what was that picture? That was a little something.
Joe's got to work with the camera a little bit on how to take the selfie.
I don't even think that was as flattering of him as he probably is. Because he's in great shape. It wasn't
it wasn't a great photo. I was like, nah, he looks a little doughy.
Yeah, he did, and he's not.
He's
not. I know he's not.
Yeah,
I understand. You and him, whenever
he also needs a tan,
would have a flex off.
Yeah, he needs a tan. Lisi needs a tan.
What do you guys think of that?
That thing over there? Like, what's going on at the door over there?
Exactly right. Everyone would be flexing
over there. I don't know.
You gotta get in the tank.
What was going on?
Right.
Guys, I don't
know. When is field day?
It's like the old
next
thing.
Thursday.
Main Street. Is it here?
Oh, Dave.
There.
Being that this one of the last ones, maybe, or whatever. Look, I'll do it for you. I mean, just like a little. I don't know. What are we looking at? You like this shirt?
Traps. Look at the traps. A little tight.
Oh yeah.
If
I did a good leg workout yesterday. Good leg workout.
If I wasn't doing a live show,
yep,
from the Circa Resort next Thursday, I would come and throw balls at you in the tank for field day. But me and Peralta are doing a live Bostonian versus the book on Thursday and Friday next week at Circa Sports. And if people actually go and watch the show, I tweeted it out today. We got a 2-night stay at Circa.
Oh,
free.
What time is the show next week?
11 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah, 1 o'clock.
11 a.m. Yeah.
So no, 12.
They got us a cabana outside. We're going to do the show from the cabana. You get day passes and 2-night stay. And, oh, by the way, the Game 3 official watch party is at the Stadium Swim. You get admission to that, too. So you can be there.
Wow.
And turn one out for the whole day. So, I mean, when the time comes, KI, you'll look great out there with all that flexing around.
Well, Peralta, didn't he just finish his 75-day something?
He's in the midst of it. Yeah, he's doing
in the middle
of a job. It's really good.
He looks like he got himself in great. I mean, he's always been a guy that's in pretty good shape.
Doing? 75 days of what?
It's It's the hard 75. You have to Google it and look it up. But
there's a bunch of stuff he's no longer allowed to eat.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of stuff that he even I think alcohol got cut out.
Yeah,
right?
He stopped drinking.
Yep.
And
there's certain workouts that he has to do. There's a certain plan to it. Yeah, I don't know exactly a lot of.
It's not even hard, Moose. It's really a discipline.
Yeah,
that he's put himself to, and holding himself.
It's really
accountable.
not that difficult. Is choose a diet, do 2 45-minute workouts every day. One must be outside. Drink a gallon of water every day. Read 10 pages of a motivational nonfiction book every day. And take a progress picture of yourself every day.
That's what it is.
That's the hard 75. Yeah.
Nah, I'm out.
What part of that couldn't you do?
The reading part.
No, the reading.
Oh, really?
That's not true stuff.
How many pictures of yourself a day do you take?
I not very often. No.
No.
Hold on.
You're doing it right now. See, look.
Dave, he sends a picture. He does the video for MLB every day, so at least once a day.
I guess that's true.
So
minimum.
So
Minimum.
minimum one a day.
Minimum
one a day.
That's
And
the
you
number
know-
was 2.5 over minus
and we do know-
25. I was waiting for him to say only
Well,
1 or 2, and I know.
Let me ask you this: what's the over under the amount of takes he does on that?
Oh, he's a pro.
Rarely is it rarely more than 2.
I'm not talking about messing up from speaking. I'm talking about bad angles.
Oh, visually? No.
Yeah.
I have like a ring light setting. No. Come on. I have the ring light setting thing. I have perfect setups.
I like when you do it outside in front of the bushes or
I like
in
to
the
pick
back
different spots.
or
Yep.
pool and all that other stuff.
Yeah, once we get to the summertime, the boys will jump in sometimes to the pool behind me. Yeah,
Very bougie. Yeah, I've
Oh,
got weeds all over the place in my yard. I got to get them.
No, yeah, we're done with all that.
I know. You're.
Hey, I got a solar panel guy coming today. Thinking about doing solar panel.
Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it.
Why, guys? Why?
No.
Ask
Why?
Lou.
Tell me why.
Ask Lou. Lou will tell you.
It's a pain in the rear end.
Why?
You want to walk up to your house and have basically your entire roof covered in solar panels?
Oh, a guy across the street just did it. I think it looks techie cool.
It does look techie cool. It might save you money over time.
Yeah.
What happens if you have a roof leak? What happens?
They fix it. It's fully under warranty from those people.
Oh, they come by and fix it.
They have to. Yes, it's
Lifetime.
Yeah.
What about if they go out of business?
Then I'm SOL, right?
No, then you're probably up on the ladder.
Well, you'll
getting
save
up
a
there
lot of
fixing it
money
yourself.
How much now? You like the look of it?
I don't mind it. Yeah.
You like your entire roof covered in solar panels?
It would be the back of my house because that's
Yeah.
the side that sees all
Gets
the sun.
most sun. Yeah.
Well, I had a not a neighbor, someone down the street. They literally cut down 6 trees,
Which is thousands of dollars.
right? And then did that, got rid of them, to open it up and have more kind of sunshine on their house. And then the very next week, they loaded up their roof with solar panels.
There you go. Yeah, I got the guy
Listen,
coming
solar
today.
panels are
You can
huge
talk
here
to him.
because the sun shines 330 days a year here.
Yeah.
So solar panels are huge. My next door neighbor has them. Guy 2 doors across the street has them. I mean, it's not a bad choice, looks wise. Don't do it for the looks. Do it for the money that you're going to save.
Yeah, you're going to save a ton of
know.
money. What are you going to save on your electricity bill?
I don't know. I'm going to talk to the guy today.
Oh yeah.
There's this government
Ernie,
plan.
cutting down trees to save the planet. Yes.
Yeah.
Cutting down. Yeah.
We had a solar panel guy come by, and
Yeah.
I was like a long time ago. He's like, "You got too much trees. You'd have to cut down about 10 or 12 trees." I go, "I'll pass. Thank you."
Yeah, no, I'm not
You
cutting
live in
anything
the
down.
woods? What are
I
you
do.
talking?
Yeah,
I live in a
come
very
on.
wooded area.
He likes to talk about me being bougie. Let's.
I can't wait to come see the
Yeah.
my
No,
God.
you got to. The house is not. We live.
He's
in a
got like
ranch.
deer in his yard that
I
come
do
up
have
and
deer.
eat out of the palm
Last
of his
night driving home
hand.
from Picks, I almost killed a fox.
Jesus.
Fox ran
What?
right in front of. Yeah, right. Yeah, during the fall we have wild turkeys that come through the yard.
What?
Exactly. This guy, he's trying to,
We had one guy that worked on one of our bathrooms when we first moved the house because when we first bought it, it needed to be done. There was a yellow bathroom and a pink bathroom. So the guy that was working on the bathrooms and remodeling them, he was a hunter as well. He liked to go hunting during deer season.
He's like, "Can I bring my gun?"
So there were literally there was a buck that was like 75 yards out, and the guy was like, "Man, if I had my gun, I'd shoot it right now." I go, no, you can't shoot the deer. No,
Go fix the toilet. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
right. No. He goes, "That's a
Focus
huge."
here a
He goes,
little
"That's a
bit.
huge buck. That would be a massive." I go, "No."
This
He was
sounds like
eyeballing this
Pennsylvania.
out.
This
I was
is
like, "Oh my god, can we get the tile up? Can we get the pink down?"
Can you just please do what you do the bathroom, man?
yeah.
Dave, we miss you. We miss
Yes.
you. We love you. You're the best.
Well, I mean, whatever this is going to be and however this is going to end up, I was talking to Moose off the air, and he said we'll be friends for a long time. So if
No doubt.
nothing else, that's what came out of all of this is this, and I think there'll be other opportunities for at least the 3 of us to work together and do stuff like this. I mean, there's a lot more that you can bring to the table, I think, than just the basic stuff. And I think, I mean, it's been an absolute joy to just be on here. I went back and talked about it to Jess. I was like, I've talked to Moose and Keith every Monday and Friday for almost 9 months.
Yes.
I mean, there's weeks I talk to you more than I talk to her. I mean, just the reality of it. Like, you know, when you're running with all this stuff, and I don't know what summer vacation is like in your house. It's nuts.
Yeah,
I had my sister-in-law sent my nephews and niece out to Vegas to see their dad. We had 8 kids here yesterday for a little while. Then they
because
left.
summer break started for you guys out there already, right?
Oh, it's on.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
full on summer break.
Right.
I mean, the trip to Seattle was just me and Kylie and Kendall, my oldest and my youngest. We watched baseball. We went to see the Women's College World Series. The two of you, if you've never been to the University of Washington, it's really one of the most scenic college campuses I've ever seen. And the softball field, left field is Lake Washington, like literally right there. It was awesome. But, you know, we'll take it. Can't control the uncontrollables.
No.
Right. So, you know, we get a little summer vacation.
Yeah.
That's
Moose
it.
is going to get a tan.
I am. I'm going to try and get.
Do you like the sun, Moose?
I do, not as much. Like my wife can sit on the beach for hours.
So could I.
Too.
I get really bored.
Not me. I could just sit there.
Like but don't you get like
No.
Like you don't want to do something?
Nope.
Like,
No.
I'll walk.
I'm doing something all the
back
time.
and forth. I understand, but you know, like, yeah, I don't. I get a little bit bored.
I could just bake. Like
Same.
the
Yeah,
Oasis
you got the
that
baby oil out. You have one of those mirrored things like that.
Yeah, I would. No, the Oasis that we built in the yard now, like it literally is my Oasis. Like I could sit on my comfy chair.
Yeah. Don't bother daddy. He's tanning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Leave me alone, guys. And then I'll float in the water a little bit, get back out, you know, maybe play some music, maybe not. It's great.
It's the best. I do the same exact thing. That's my relaxation.
Yeah.
I used to sit in Curacao and book the early games and try to get out and sit at the beach and watch the sunset.
Amazing.
Just every day, just because it cleared my head. Then I would go back and we would book the late games. It was nonstop phones ringing, people yelling and all this other stuff. And that put me in a place that I always try to go back to.
Yeah.
And then, you know, since the stroke, I wake up like that every day. I'm in that place every day. I'm like, all right, we're good. Let's just go to that place. So I went to Seattle. I came back. We had a backyard. Jess went and got all the backyard furniture for the summer, bought a hammock for the little one that I'm not allowed to use. And
that you're not allowed to use? Is that what you just said?
Yeah. She said, Daddy, this is mine, not yours. And I'm like, well, Kendall, everything is ours. Nothing is yours.
Yeah.
It's ours. And she's like, yeah, but this is my chair. She loves it. She goes and gets a book and sits in a hammock and reads. And I'm jealous.
And Kendall's what, 12, right?
9.
Oh, 9. Okay.
It's unreal.
All right.
So,
Dave, you're the best, brother.
Yeah.
Last one, just from an NBA perspective tonight.
Yeah.
Keith and I broke it down. What do you feel game 1 tonight? What do you feel for the series when you're looking at Nuggets and Heat?
Buckets.
Jimmy Buckets.
Buckets. I'm rooting for the book to just cover the spread, if nothing else. This is one of those ones. Now, the NBA took a little bit of time off, but not that much. But all the content space, all the people, all was in the book yesterday. And I heard that Denver's going to sweep them. Denver's going to win in 5. This is not going to be competitive. Series price would tell you as such. And I'm just sitting here watching going, I don't think so. Like, Denver's just going to go to Miami and win both games. They may win both games in Denver. Like, they're probably – tonight's the night I think that Miami can catch them.
Okay.
Be competitive. Then after that, Sunday, Denver will probably blow them out. But I don't think it's a sweep. I don't think it's 5. Do you guys think that?
No. I like Miami plus 5.5 in the first half.
I think Miami first quarter's good.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the rust over the factor is huge for me.
The only issue I'd have with that, I mentioned it earlier, Dave, would be this, is that Miami's not a great shooting team.
No.
So
Miami's not a great anything. They're in the
No.
NBA
But my
Finals.
point being is, like, if you told me it was a really good offensive team going up against Denver tonight with the extended break for the Nuggets, I would agree with you. I'd probably side with that team. I get concerned about Miami not shooting the ball well in the opening quarter, maybe taking advantage of the Nuggets' rust. I mean, I understand what the logic that goes along into it. I'm not playing it either way. That would be the only thing I'd be concerned about. But I like Denver in 6 or 7. I think there's going to be a long series. I think the idea now of doubting Miami again, I mean, then you're just a fool. Like, what would lead you to believe they beat Milwaukee, they beat the Knicks, they're not as good of a team.
I'm
They beat
surprised
Boston.
how discredited they are getting at this point. Like,
The
they
spread's
did just
9.
beat
The
Milwaukee.
spread
They
is 9
did
this
just
time.
beat Boston.
Yeah.
And it's being discounted pretty easily. I don't know.
Nobody believes in the Heat except
Not
for the
at
Heat.
all. Not at
Dave,
all.
thank you, brother. We can't thank you enough, man.
Yeah.
All right, guys. You guys have a good rest of the day. I'll talk to both of you soon. If
got it.
nothing else, maybe I'll come back and we'll go to Saratoga for the day.
We
Something
should.
like
Look
that.
at
I mean,
absolutely.
now that Keith is a jockey, we could get him out and
I am an award-winning horse rider. Yes.
Yes.
this is
Driver.
Oh yeah, driver.
Jockey is on the flats.
Donna, see you. Lou, Linda, see you guys later. Thanks.
Later, Dave.
We'll come back. Sharapan's the best. I love him. We're going to talk a little. Danny Vietti's going to join us, right? He's going to join us next. It's Moose and Keith with you on this Thursday right here, Better Sports Network.
Bye weeks are so incredibly important in best ball because you can't change your lineup. You can't grab somebody off the waiver wire. You don't make changes. So you've got to be prepared. If you're taking 4 quarterbacks because you want to be sure you got to be very methodical about the schedule, especially the bye weeks.
Yeah, that's a good point by you because I don't, in redraft leagues and in especially in dynasty leagues, I don't give a damn about bye weeks in a dynasty league. I'm taking the talent that I need, especially if it's like a startup dynasty league, man. And so, that's created situation. Matt Deutsch's league last year, I had a glut of, it was like week 9, I seem to remember. It was the bye week of death for me. Like, it's a 2 quarterback league. I had a bunch of QBs. They were like all on the bye at the same week. It was insane. At best ball, you've got to really be strategic about that. And it's almost more important than the statistics that you might put next to the player as the bye week to let you know, no, I can't go there because I got this guy, and this guy, and this guy already.
You have an opportunity to get a quarterback you want, but your first 2 have the same bye week. You just can't do that to yourself. You have to be thinking it through. I do pay attention to bye weeks in my drafts. I just do. It makes me a lot less of a struggle bus situation when it comes to Buymageddon. I don't want to have 4 players. I want to have all my wide receivers and just be playing scrubs. I don't want to have to get rid of a player that I like, that's healthy, that's performing for me just because out of desperation.
Let me talk to you, Vlad, about an award here that I thought was very, very debatable. And it was Cy Young in the National League. In terms of odds, it's Strider at plus 230, Zach Gallen at plus 215, Clayton Kershaw plus 1,000. Clayton Kershaw, to me, his numbers are phenomenal and better, or at least right there with these other 2. Strider was my preseason pick to win the award. But Clayton Kershaw at plus 1,000 compared to these other guys with similar numbers in the plus 200s. Like, let's bang on Kershaw and hope he doesn't get hurt, right? Where are you at with that, Vlad?
Yeah, those are great odds. I think the only concern that fantasy players and Dodgers fans had before the season started was innings limitations. Just wanting to make sure that he is fully ramped up for the playoffs. And as some teams do, you sometimes get those phantom IL stints. And we might see that sometime maybe around the All-Star break with Kershaw just to preserve his arm over the second half of the season. But, man, he's a great pick. If you're telling me those are the odds, that's really, really nice. I do love your Spencer Strider pick. I think that's what I would have done in the preseason and bet on him. He's an absolute beast. So, but Clayton Kershaw at plus 1,000, those are phenomenal odds. And you mentioned Zach Gallen. He's incredible too. And looks like Arizona has been in the hunt there in the playoff. Well, so far it's early. Dodgers, maybe Padres will be in competition for that division. But yeah, that's a nice 3-way race, and we might see some other players pop in there.
All right, let's welcome aboard right now. Danny Vietti joins us, CBS Sports host of Wake and Rake podcast, which is, when he joined us last time, just a fantastic name for a podcast. Good morning, Danny. Thanks for the time. Thanks for your patience. We appreciate it. How are you?
Morning, fellas. What's going on?
What's up, man? How's everything?
Baseball's just kind of getting into gear. And I think we're starting to find out like which teams are for real and which teams are kind of starting to fall off the table. Sadly, like the Pittsburgh Pirates off to a great start, but I think we're starting to get things figured out here.
All right, so let's play into that, lean into that a little bit, Danny. Like when you talk about contenders and pretenders, as the old cliche goes in sports, like who are you starting to buy into? Who do you think is going to fade away? Besides the Pirates, obviously, and the Athletics and all those teams that stink.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, the A's just won 2 out of 3. Come on.
Yeah, the A's.
Yeah, the A's are hot, baby. The A's are hot.
We're going streaking.
The National League Central sticks out to me just in general. We've been talking about them much of the year because I still think the St. Louis Cardinals are by far the most talented team in that division. And I think the last time I was on here with you guys, we talked about buying low on the Cardinals. I think right now that you look at the Milwaukee Brewers who are at the top of the division. I saw this stat on Twitter today, which was unbelievable. Milwaukee Brewers lead the National League Central. They have the worst run differential in the National League Central. That makes no sense whatsoever. Yet they're in first place. And like I mentioned, the Pittsburgh Pirates are starting to fall off a little bit. It's been a great story, but is it sustainable? The Cincinnati Reds have actually gotten hot lately too. But I still think, again, just talent-wise, that division, the St. Louis Cardinals are by far the team to beat.
What about a team like the Cincinnati Reds, right? Like they've won 5 of their last 6. They've got all this young talent. Hunter Green is a sexy pitcher on the mound. De La Cruz is going to come up at some point probably soon. McClain looks like a future star. Steer's good. India, they need to find a spot for him. Is this just one of those teams that is fun to watch and will ultimately falter?
I think they love to think of themselves as the 2023 version of the 2022 Baltimore Orioles. Now, it still kind of remains to be seen whether they can withhold that for a full 162, but their starting rotation is better than a lot of people gave them credit for. You mentioned Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo. Lodolo has been a strikeout machine ever since he came up last year, and he's dealt with injury stints as well. But they have talent on that team. India was a rookie of the year 2 years ago, struggled last season, and they still don't have Joey Votto. And I know that Joey Votto isn't Joey Votto, his MVP self from back in 2012, but he still is Joey Votto, and he's a good veteran presence to have in that dugout. I don't see them making a push for the division, but if you're looking at like win totals, I think they're definitely making a push for that. That's for sure.
All right, Danny, when you look at, say, the Yankees now, they're getting set to take on the Dodgers. Curious about what do you think now getting Donaldson, Stanton, and Canely are going to do for a Yankee team that have played, despite their 1-0 loss last night to Seattle, took 2 or 3 in that series. Offensively, they've been pretty good. Judge has been amazing once again this year, despite missing 10 games due to injury. But what about getting some of the cavalry back here, so to speak, for the Yankees as they get set to take on what should be a fun series this weekend in Los Angeles?
This lineup looks depleted without their guys in the lineup. Like we always talk about how the Angels ride the backs of Trout and Ohtani. The Yankees do the same exact thing with Judge. With the health of the Yankees has been the topic of conversation for years now. So when it's Giancarlo and Judge and Rizzo and you mix in your LeMahieu's, the lineup's good. The problem is they're just never on the field. So I think this is going to be a boost for them. Right now, you look at like hits and batting average, they're in the bottom half of the league. They've actually cut their strikeout numbers down a bit. Through the first month of the season, I believe they were 26th in the league. Now they're actually up near in the middle, like the 15 mark in the middle of the pack. So they've cut their strikeout numbers down, which I think helps. Guys coming back and getting some reinforcements, that's going to help as well. I still think they're way too reliant on Judge. When Judge goes, the team goes. But the problem is that Judge isn't going to hit 90 homers. He's not going to hit he might, but all likelihood he's not going to hit 90 homers. So I still think they're too Judge reliant, but this is certainly going to help.
Yeah, I look at the Yankees in the exact same vein as you. I think they are upper echelon, but not necessarily a World Series team. Let's go to the Rays, because the Rays came out guns a-blazing, dominating like crazy, and they've been an average team over the last 15, 20 games. How do you kind of view Tampa?
Everybody expected them to kind of regress back to the mean a little bit, right? One kind of crazy stat just to throw out there. They have 11 players with 7 or more homers this year. 11. And to put that into context, last year, the entire team had, it was either 8 or 9. One of those, like they already have more players with 7 or more homers this year than they did all of last season, which is ridiculous. There are teams in the league that don't even have a single player with 7 home runs, including the Detroit Tigers and the Colorado Rockies. So you only go 9 deep, and they have 11 different players, which I just found I find that remarkable. Look, I still think that the depth that this team possesses is incredible. They just got Glasnow back. I still think the starting rotation is the best, if not in the division, in the entire American League. So I think the hitters, the lineup in general, that's going to have its ups and downs. That's what hitting is. That's what baseball is. They're not going to be hot for 162 games. But what can stay hot, or at least what can stay healthy, is their pitching and their starting pitching. Now, their starting pitching hasn't really been healthy. They've lost Jeffrey Springs for the year. They lost Drew Rasmussen, but I mentioned that they got Glasnow back, which should help. So their bullpen and their starting rotation is still the best in the division and one of the best in the entire league. The lineup's going to have its ups and downs, so we should expect them to, have some bumps in the road.
Danny, what do you make of the Mets right now, and what you've seen so far this year?
Bit of a slow start for sure. When you had that big of a payroll, you expect them to win more games than they have. I think a lot of that too is I think the division itself is better than maybe other people gave it credit for. I expected the Miami Marlins to be a competitive team this year. A lot of people laughed at me for that, but I think they have enough starting pitching and they have enough hitters and depth in their lineup to put up a fight, and they have done so. The Phillies have gotten off to a bit of a slow start, but they still have that lineup. And then the Nationals, I know they're 8 games under 500 that I'm seeing, but that's actually been competitive this year. Like they're putting up a fight. Last year, the Nationals, you rolled over them every single game. Like they weren't even a competition. Right now, you have 4 teams in that division that you have to go out and give your A game, or else you're going to put up an L. So I think a lot of it is just the division being really tough in the National League East. I didn't even mention the Atlanta Braves, who have been, if not the best team in the National League, then the entire team in baseball. So it's a tough division. The National League in general is going to be tough to fight, especially with those guys in the National League West as well. I think the lineups really still got to start pulling their weight at some point, though.
Around Memorial Day is when a lot of people assess teams in general. Let's do a different assessment, not even the players or the teams, the rule changes. It was the major focal point of everything coming in this year. What would be your assessment of all the rule changes?
I mean, we've seen the violations go down as was expected. The first month, of course, everybody's going to flip out and freak out and overreact, right? But overall, I mean, the players 90% of the players seem to be for it. Now, there are some kinks and some tweaks that players would like to see. Like I've seen some guys advocate for a 20-second pitch clock instead of 15 because 15 feels a bit rushed, and 20 would make it consistent across the board as well because it is 20 with runners on base too. I think there are some things that need to be worked out, but just objectively, like as a fan, my wife and I were talking about going to bringing our dog to a bark in the park. I live in Sacramento. We had the Sacramento River Cats just down the street. And at first we were a little hesitant. Our dog can get a little skittish at time and maybe a little impatient. And we both decided, well, you know what? With the pitch clock, games are ending in 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Why not bring the dog? He might be okay for a couple hours. So that's a very small example of, I think, how fans are thinking about going to a ball game. Attendance, it's not like crazy up, crazy down this year so far. They're about around average, around what it's been the last couple of years, which isn't terrible. Things could improve, but isn't terrible. But I think in general, there's more incentive to going to a game in this generation of people that like to be entertained in small amounts and small volumes.
Yeah, I mean, what has been, when you look at the rule aspects and the changes here, anything surprise you that, we saw stolen bases up early? I thought batting averages would steadily rise. We've seen some really good hitters still hitting really, really poorly. So I thought the less reliance on the home run and launch angle with, the shift kind of being put away would lead to higher batting average. What has hit you early on here from first impressions of what we've seen from the rule changes of baseball?
Yeah, I'll kind of come back to you on the the elimination of the shift and say that no batting averages aren't quite as high as we all expected it to be, but there are guys that recently have struggled with batting average, such as a Joey Gallo or a Nolan Gorman, the pull happy guys.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden have a spot open on the right side of that infield. I think
That's true.
Matt Olson is picking up a few more knocks too, just bumping ground balls to the right side. We mentioned Gallo, and then Nolan Gorman's been a pull happy strikeout K rate through the roof guy all up through the minor leagues. He's hitting balls on both sides of the dish now, and now he's actually has an extra hole on that right side. So maybe as a whole, batting averages aren't as high as maybe the league would have wanted. I think that's what their idea of changing that rule, that's what they were hoping for. But I think in general, the guys that have struggled with just hitting ground balls, pulling ground balls to their favorite side, I think they're actually reaping the benefits of it.
For the rookies, Yoshida obviously has been fantastic for Boston. From a betting standpoint, he's as chalky can be. What do you think of the AL rookie crew, the Josh Youngs of the world, the Hunter Browns of the world?
Josh Young's been special, and that lineup's been special. I didn't realize how good the Texas Rangers were until I really looked at their numbers. Coming into, it was 2 days ago, the Texas Rangers have the best run differential in the league. And everybody thought, that's no way. The Tampa Bay Rays have been dominating. They have, but the Texas Rangers have been just kicking the crap out of people. And a lot of that has been credited to Josh Young. And that's been without Corey Seager, by the way, too. Over in Baltimore, you would have liked to have seen Grayson Rodriguez have a little bit more of a success at this level. I think he was kind of a bit of a dark horse when you look at that American League's Rookie of the Year. Didn't quite have that success. But Young's been special, man. I mean, I think the National League in particular, you talk about chalk. Corbin Carroll is absolute chalk right now. I know that Kota Senga has been good in recent starts, but I don't think anybody is more chalk than Corbin Carroll right now. I mean, the dude's doing it with all 5-6 tools that he has.
Danny, when you're looking at teams that you think are going to be selling off, what are some of the names? Like if I'm looking for a closer, say the Mets are looking to add somebody to not replace David Robertson, but to add somebody to the back end of that bullpen, they could use that. There's other teams. Who are the big names that you think are going to be available come the MLB trade deadline if you had to project a little bit?
I mean, you look at the White Sox, they have talent in their bullpen. Guys like Kendall Graveman, maybe he could be an option. Oakland doesn't really have anybody that they could sell off. I'm kind of looking at the teams at the bottom of their division. Cincinnati, they talked about how Alexis Diaz could be available before the season. There was an idea floated that once Edwin Diaz went on the injured list after the World Baseball Classic, the Mets were thinking about potentially trading for his brother, Alexis Diaz. So maybe he could be available if the Reds fall out of it as well. And he does have closing experience. And then in the National League West, the Colorado Rockies actually had some decent talent going into the season in their bullpen, surprisingly, like Daniel Bard, but he obviously started the season. He had some mental anxiety that he was dealing with, but he's arguably he was the best closer in baseball last year in Coors Field. So maybe he could be available again. He's has been dealing with personal issues early on this season. So I don't know how good of a fit he would be, traveling elsewhere. But right now, those are kind of some of the guys I've been circling.
We've run through some divisions. You know what? Let's double back. AL Central. Make some heads and tails of that one.
Minnesota Twins have the best pitching, without a doubt. The problem is their lineup's just not pulling their weight. They need to get Craig on. It's as simple as that. Like, Correa has not played up to his potential, has not played up to his level. Starting pitching-wise, like Joe Ryan and Jorge Lopez, they lead the league in first pitch strike percentage. They're pounding the zone. And then you have Sonny Gray, who's leading the American League in ERA. Their starting rotation is by far better than anybody in that American League Central Division. The problem is their lineup's just not consistently driving in runs. You like the talent of Buxton, Correa. You'd like to get Miranda a little bit more at bats and get him going. You'd like to see Kirilloff get going a little bit. But right now, up and down the lineup, they just don't have a lot of depth 1 through 9.
Danny, last one for me. What do you make of the comments from Noah Syndergaard talking about where he is right now, that he'd give his, he doesn't have a child, but
his hypothetical firstborn.
His hypothetical firstborn to be the pitcher that he once was.
Yeah, it was good birth control for me because we've been starting to have the conversation about having kids. And I was like, you know what? Syndergaard's giving me some added perspective here. I can relate to him a little bit, but I I would love to see the old Syndergaard also. I mean,
I think he's gone forever. I mean, Denny's gone.
It's age, man. Sometimes your velocity ticks down, your stuff.
Also, the whole
dissipates.
Tommy John thing, right? Like there's some pitchers that come back and they were throwing 96 before, and now they're throwing 98 or 99. He was throwing 96 to 98 before, and now he's throwing 91, 92.
Yeah, and honestly, I think even less more than the velocity stuff is like his movement. When you look at his horizontal and vertical movement on Baseball Savant, it just doesn't have the same break as it once did, which is really sad to see. And I think a lot of that is due to potential elbow issues that he's had in the past.
Danny, you're the best, man. We appreciate the time. I know you're up earlier up in Sacramento. Just in Northern California, just that area, what are people making of the A's moving to Vegas?
It's a foregone conclusion. I think people have accepted it by now. You know, this has been going on for years, if not decades. I mean, really, ever since John Fisher took over that team in 2004. I think everybody, even most A's fans, have accepted that change is needed, and they want the team there, but they're so done with John Fisher that they've accepted whatever fate is coming.
It's a shame because you look at the team this year, it's embarrassing. I mean, the product and the team that they're putting out there on the field this year is just a complete and utter disgrace. And it's a shame. And those guys are playing in the major leagues. I'm not telling you that they don't deserve that, but just from a competitive standpoint. Danny, continued success. We appreciate the time. Thanks for getting up early for us, and have a great Thursday, all right?
Thanks, guys. Always
have a good one, man. Yep.
You got
Talk
it.
soon.
Danny Vietti, CBS Sports, and check out his Wake and Rake podcast. I mentioned Syndergaard before, Keith, and with Danny is, it can go really, really quick. And Syndergaard looked like there was one of those impenetrable guys, and Met fans were running around with the Thor helmets and everything, and he was taking pictures as he was staring at the sunset shirtless and walking around Citi Field shirtless, drinking a cup of coffee, and he seemed like this guy that was inconquerable. And now you watch him, I mean, he's terrible. Like he is a bad pitcher.
Well, and what's crazy too is because so the knock on him was that you could run on him, right? It was fine. Like, Zach Greinke is the same kind of pitcher, right? But he still was striking people out or getting players out. Now everyone steals against him if and when they get on base, and he's not getting anybody out.
No,
like it is not good.
Not getting everyone.
And it's not even like so sometimes when a starter loses a lot of their stuff, you move them to the bullpen. Like, what would he do in the bullpen for them?
Not much. I'll be honest. I don't think he adds anything. I think
I think it's
he's going by the way of Matt Harvey.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. To where it's a great name.
Who else was it? It was Harvey, Syndergaard. Who was the third pitcher?
Steven Matz.
The Matz. Thank you, Matz.
Zach Wheeler.
Oh, and Wheeler was a part of that too. You're right. Yeah.
Zach Wheeler was a part of it.
Because back in the day, it was the Pulsifer and DeGrom. But it was Pulsifer,
Paul
Wilson,
and the guy that would end up being the closer with the A's and the Cardinals.
Isringhausen.
Jason Isringhausen.
Yeah.
Right. They got rid of Isringhausen because he was enjoying the nightlife way too much.
Yes.
He was partying in New York City.
Nah, Jacob Syndergaard, a closer. I don't see it.
No, I don't see it. His stuff's not good enough.
No.
Plus, he also doesn't believe either.
Yeah.
By the way, we mentioned it, and there's been some chatter in the session. If you missed it, Keith and I. So we're off tomorrow, and we're moving for the next couple of months to just once a week. Every Tuesday, we'll be on right here, Better Sports Network, live show, live and in living color from 10 to noon every Tuesday in June and July, and hopefully then back to the full run in August. So just want to thank everybody for being with us. Hopefully you'll be with us each and every Tuesday as well. We'll be active on social media. We'll let you know when we're on, but we're off today and we're off on Monday. We'll be back with you next Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Again, continue to follow us on socials. I mean, we both put out stuff out there, whether it's, when our show is or the other things that we're doing. So, follow Moose over to Picks and check him out over there. And he's got his nighttime show as well. And you see him. Are you still doing your Sunday on FAN? Or
still doing Sundays on the
Sundays
fan.
on FAN.
We're busy bees.
He cheats on me with another bald man. It's
well, Keith's all over the place as well. MLB Network, NHL Network. So we're busy. We like to work a lot. We do work a lot, and we appreciate you being with us. This is not the end. Obviously, we're just for the next couple months, going to be here for just once a week, every Tuesday at 10 a.m. So I want to give you a heads up about that.
And Wally, don't worry, I do protect the dome. Now, I don't wear hats. I re-lather up often with sunblock, okay? I'm not a big hat person, although I do have some of the I have that like the bucket hat thing, the really big like fisherman's hat is what I was trying to say.
I love that.
Yeah, I have one of those that I wear to the lacrosse tournaments.
Oh, I love that. I love wearing that on the beach.
No, not me. At the beach, I want everything tanned.
No. I gotta protect myself.
No. You gotta let it all
Well,
out.
I don't have honestly, like I don't have the same skin tone that you.
Letting everything out. Let it all hang out.
I'm Lithuanian, Polish, and German. Like that's not. I gotta protect it.
Yeah. Even the European stuff that I get from my mother gets tan. So.
Oh yeah.
So like I got the Puerto Rican side, but then I got all the European stuff that I get from my mom, and yeah.
And as Wally
Speedos
said,
at the beach, no.
Banana hammock, no.
I mean, hey.
Shave down, get ready for work.
Yeah. Just get out there. Get out there, man.
By the way, close it out here. I just want to mention one thing because I can't wait for it. I hope it's done right. But HBO is producing a new documentary about Barry Bonds.
I'm all in. All in.
Same producers that did The Last Dance, same producers that did OJ Made in America, which were both amazing. I can't wait. Like
now he's going to be in it and speaking. Do we know yet?
I read,
I didn't see.
Yeah, I did not see that. I as long as it's like kind of tells the entire story of Barry Bonds, like that is going to be a fascinating documentary. By the way, ESPN, can you stop replaying the American Gladiators documentary? It's on like every night. And it's a god-awful documentary. It's just terrible.
It might be
doesn't
the
do that
one.
Show any justice. Like
Yeah.
American Gladiators was a great show. Mike Adamle, Larry Zonka. Can you stop replaying that documentary? It's brutal.
Yeah, so last night I was flipping through and it came on. I'm like, oh great, I'll watch a little bit. I couldn't watch it.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
it's
brutal.
terrible. The Barry Bonds one will not be though.
Excited about Barry Bonds. As long as I need him to be a part of it, because part of what made the Last Dance great was Jordan and some of his comments, like, I took that to heart or whatever it was, like.
Well, how about Jordan looking at the iPad, like laughing hysterically?
Yeah. I need
great.
Bonds joking around about this guy thought he was going to get me out.
No doubt.
I don't know if we're going to get honesty from Bonds.
Probably not.
No.
If he's in it, probably not. I'd like to hear the whole story though.
Yeah.
Victor Conti still alive?
I believe so.
Yeah, right? He didn't die, did he? I'm not sure.
No, I don't think. I think he's alive.
All right, we're out of time. We got to thank Ernie Acosta. Fantastic job
thank you,
behind the
Ernie.
scenes as well. You guys in the chat session, Jay, Wally, Baby Jay, everybody there. Thank you. We'll be back with you Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Keith, have a great weekend, brother.
You too. Go hit the beach. Go tan.
Probably not. See you Tuesday at 10, everybody.
Tuesday!
Right here on the Better Sports Network. See you guys.